Hey, what's going on, guys? I just got back to Korea today from Japan, and rather than getting a good night's rest, I want to record this video and show you guys some of the stuff that I brought back with me. I didn't have to actually send anything back to myself in the post this time, so I actually have it all right here right away. And as you'll see, it's kind of not a lot. It's a lot of little stuff, so I didn't really buy much in the way of kits just because it's not really that much better to buy kits in Japan compared to here in Korea. And I just obviously don't really need too much more in the way of kits. But about some cool stuff, so I'll show you all that in a minute. I just want to say, again, a huge thank you to USA Gundam Store for supporting the trip. The trip, I think, went good. I got all the information I need. It was extremely tiring. We were just like walking around all day long, going to all these different places and just taking photos and notes, and it was a lot of walking. So I also want to say thank you to a couple of friends who hung out with me along the way. Zach and Ricardo were hanging out at different times all through the weekend. So thank you guys for hanging out. Ricardo also gave me a couple of stuff here. I'll show you that. So my feet are killing me. It was a tiring weekend, but a lot of fun. Of course, it's always fun being in Tokyo and just seeing everything, looking around. So we got to see a lot, that's for sure. We did it all. So the guide, I'll be working on that over the next couple weeks, and I'll have that out for you guys, at least like the basic version, the version that will be free for you guys to download. And I guess I should tell this to you guys as well. We have decided, USA Gundam Store and myself, after kind of discussing it, that we will make the guide just absolutely free for you guys to download. So you'll be able to get that. That will be just like the basic version though, so like all the information that you'll need, but there will be, like I said, I do want to work on like a book form of it, and there may be like only having a physical book form, but also like maybe a second PDF, which is, you know, basically similar to the book, a lot more photos and a lot more colorful maybe, and that one will maybe be like pay to download, that sort of thing. But like I said, I'll be working on that for the next few weeks, and I'll let you guys know how the progress on that is going. In the meantime, this is gonna be probably a pretty lengthy video because just showing you all the stuff that I got, so let's get into it. One more thing also I should say is that I should say thank you to the people who came out for the meetup. Saturday night there, we had a meetup. I was expecting 1 or 2 people, like max, possibly 0, but we ended up having about, I think, 10 people, I think, show up for that, so that was really cool. Like the first couple people came, and I was like, alright, that's cool, and then a couple more people came, and another guy came, and another guy came. It's like, wow, this is a lot more people than I was expecting, so it was cool. We just kind of met up and went to a nearby bar. We just kind of hang out and had a few drinks and just kind of chatted the night away for a while, so it was a lot of fun. So thank you to you guys who came out and kind of just hung out. And now, let's do it. Alright, so I did get one full-on kit while I was there, and it was actually the kit that I wasn't actually planning on getting, but I broke down and finally decided to get it. It is the Mechanical Clear Master Grade Shinanju. So after looking at it a few times there, I kind of decided finally, alright, I'll just decide to pick one up. But I didn't buy just one, and I didn't even buy just 2, because I actually bought 3 of them, but only one is for me actually. One is for Josh, and then one is for the owner of USA Gundam Store, who asked me to pick one up for him as well. So 2 I'll actually be sending off tomorrow, but 1 I will be keeping and working on at some point in the future, so you guys will see me working on that sometime later. Alright, so those were the only really big things. Now it's just pretty much all smaller stuff after that. These are, as I mentioned, I got a couple things from Ricardo. So Ricardo gave me these. They're obviously Exceed Zaku heads. Ricardo was just so blown away by my work on the previous Zaku head that I did that he really wanted to see me do another one. No, I'm just kidding. But these, I was mentioning that I was hoping to do some more. He had bought a box, and so he offered to just give me a couple of them, so that's awesome. These are both high mobility type Zaku heads, so they have the different style horn from the one that I painted up before. This one will be the Johnny Ridden version. Can't get that back together now that it's open. And this one is the Shin Matsunaga version, so this one just has some custom markings on that there, and the Shin Matsunaga White Wolf on there. I guess I might as well just show this to you because I'm probably not going to do this as a separate video or anything, but there's the Johnny Ridden logo on there and the number on this side. Just a shame that I'm going to be sanding those off because I will be repainting those as well, like I did with the previous one. Nothing really too special particular, but I did get this Dimeboard box head like power battery for your phone. So this was just something that I ended up actually needing every day, so I just wanted to pick one of those while I was there, so I got a cool one. And then I got a few Converge figures here. Some of them are like brand new in the box, some of them are opened out of the box. This one in particular though is completely out of the box. There's no box included at all. This would be the Delta Gundam. So when he's all together, here is how he's gonna look. Very nice. Gotta love those red eyes, which you guys are maybe not really gonna be able to see all too well, but hopefully you can see that a little bit. And that gold pre-painting on there, looking really sharp. Great figure. Here's another one that I've seen on many occasions and finally decided to break down and buy one, is the Gym 3. So this one is an open box because there is a secret version of this, which I think is like unicorn color version. But it's just like green, or unicorn or Aug, I think is the Aug version colors actually, but it's like a kind of pale green and dark green kind of color. And there you go. Gotta love the big bulk of the Gym 3, those big shoulders, those cool side skirts. Overall, really cool design as well. And like I was saying, they did have the alternate color version, and they actually had that in stock at ma.k where I got this. But I just decided to go with the original colors. I kind of like these a little bit more. And then another one that does have an alternate color version, there is also the blue version of this. And again, they had that in stock, but I like the traditional green color. Here's the full armor Gundam. And this one also opened up because they just, they'll check because they have to know if it's the secret one, then they'll charge more for it. But as you can see, this one's gonna be looking pretty cool as well. Let's get this opened up. And there we go, put together. Gotta love that color scheme. Seems like an extra large V-fin on this one. It'll be interesting to see this compare with like some of the other different RX-78 versions that I have. So there we go, very nice. Speaking of other RX-78 versions, another one that I forgot here that was also already out of the box here is the prototype Gundam. So let me pull this one out. And here we are. Like with the new version of the RX-78-2, this has the option of putting the shield on the backpack if you want. And I gotta say, it's looking very similar to that, so I think those two will actually probably look very similar together. Now the rest of these are all still brand new, totally in the box, but I did, again, just get all of these used at ma.k for the most part. I think one or two were from a different store, but mostly from ma.k. This is, I'm gonna go in numerical order, this is number 53. It's the EZ8. I think this was actually the most expensive of the ones that I got, just because it is a little bit harder to find. So here we have the EZ8 Gundam. This was from a series that included the 00 Gundam, the O-Riser, the Goof Custom, the GM Sniper, and the Black Tri-Stars Zaku. So here we go. Pretty simple as the EZ8 is, but again, a lot of nice detail on there. We have the 08 there in the shield. All you gotta do is just drop a little panel lining ink in there. Ink that up, ink up all these details, and the white will definitely make it look a lot more detailed. Very cool. Again, continuing on in numerical order, this is the DJ SER. This is another one that I've been contemplating getting for a long time. I like the look of this more than just the regular DJ, which was another option in this particular set, so I guess this is the same set the prototype Gundam was in. And the X Divider, which I saw and I contemplated getting, but ultimately decided not to. But let's take a look at the DJ SER. So here we are. This is actually quite cool. I like this actually more than I was expecting. It's definitely gonna do a lot better to have some of this detail painted in, but a lot of really cool stuff. I will say, like, a special note to the pre-painting on the backpack here, a little bit like the gray inside the vents there. It's cool. It's got these tubes that are actually like molded together with the backpack that you have to plug up into the back of the head there. So really nice details. Really quite excited about this one actually. Next one is the Gerbera Tetra number 123 in a line. So the Gerbera Tetra is a design that I've always liked. Never bought a kit. There was like the third-party 100 scale version, and then there's of course the HGUC version. But maybe if they make an RE, I'll finally get around to building one. As much as I'd love a master grade, I think a RE is probably more likely. Anyway, here's how he looks. Very nice. Doesn't have like the big cone out of the back, but we do have the nice AGX 04 on the back of there. These fins that you plug in onto the back of the shoulders. All really cool. It's, again, with all that red, but it's got all that nice molded detail. Go in and do some panel lining on that, and it's gonna be looking really swell. Even adding like a couple nice white decals on there will look really good against that red. You can see the mono eye there is in a nice metallic green paint. Two more here, and I promise I did buy other stuff aside from Converge figures, but this is 146, the Biolant. My boy, the Biolant. Really wish that this was the Biolant Custom, but it does have the original Biolant arms you can see on there. So this was out not all that long ago. This one is relatively recent. But there we go, white as he is, looking really cool. It also has a little bit of metallic pink in there. There you can maybe see it for the mono eye. Very nice. I know how you guys love this cool backside of that as well. Cool design. I think I probably like it in Converge form more than I will the kit. As much as I love the HGC Biolarn, as you guys know, Biolarn Custom is really my jam. This one though will make a really nice Converge figure. And last but certainly not least is the real type color version of the Banshee in Destroy mode. So this was, I think this one either recently came out or was recently re-released anyway. It's in a new series of recolors, so they're just real type color versions of the 00 Quanta, the Wing Zero EW, the F91 Gundam, and the Zaku Irons. I really contemplated buying this set, but this was the only really one of the set that I really wanted. I wasn't really all that interested in these other ones. I have a Zaku Irons already, and the difference between the regular one and the real type color is such a slight difference. It's really just wasn't worth it to buy the whole box basically just for this, so I was able to pick this up just by itself. So that worked out. Really cool colors though for that. It's in like, so it's got a little bit more gold tone overall. And whew, I gotta say, that is a good looking Banshee figure. Worthy of Marita-san for sure. Looks really nice. You got that different color where like the backpack and the feet are like in like a real like matte black, and the rest of it is in like a this like very, very dark brown. It's like a little bit like lighter tinted, like a gold tinted kind of black color there. So really cool colors. Everything looking really nice. The gold for the V-fin and around the chest, and then here in the armed armor VN as well, also looking really nice. So like this quite a lot. But let's move out of Converge and into Gundam Standart. Now I think I really only have one of these. As far as I can remember, I only have the Banshee in Destroy mode. But I wanted to get a couple of these to try painting up, or not painting, well, like some detail painting. Detailing these up a bit, as I've done with a few Converge figures. I wanted to try it with a few Standart figures, so I got a couple here. This first one, as you can see, obviously is the Marasai. This would be the unicorn version of the Marasai, so it does come with the Hammurabi's rifle. It doesn't come with the, what was it called, the Umebi something, the other little like wire-guided little hook weapon on the arm there. It doesn't have that, but so here's how he looks. These don't really come with any sort of stand, unfortunately, but you can see a nice detail there up underneath the feet. They do have some pre-painted parts. I mean, it's all pre-painted, but some little bit of stuff that's like separate painted. We have the Xeon logo there, printed on there. Some nice details all around, all that silver and orange going around there for the piping, and the gun is really long. This little bit here on the end doesn't move or anything, but this will just stand up as it is. It's unfortunate that this line isn't really around anymore, but some of these, especially some of the earlier ones, I know had some pretty funky proportions. This one I think though still looks pretty good. A lot of them had like really huge shoulders and like the proportions were kind of quite goofy, but this one looks really nice. One thing I will say is that it doesn't have any mono eye on there, so I'll have to paint in a little mono eye for him in the process. Next one I got here is the Bondak. This is the twin seat type. They did also make just the regular version, which is like red and black. There's the Banshee. That's the one that I also have. But anyway, this is one that I'd also liked for a long time. Really hoping we get a kit of this someday, but who knows if and when that day may come or may not come. I guess I'll show you this. I didn't show you guys this on the Marasai, but here's what basically how these figures look when you get them. The main figure will be like encased like this, and then any sort of like other larger parts that don't really fit will be in a separate bag. Then in this case it comes with instructions, because it looks like it can maybe actually be transformed like that. That's its like transform state. So this one comes with instructions, and of course gum being a candy toy. Here's how it's gonna look out of box. I got a lot of really nice details there, going in, doing some detail painting, panel lining, adding a couple of water slides on there. It's gonna look great. This does have some pre-printing on here. It's kind of hidden behind the arm is the Titans logo there on the side. Again, like with the Marasai, some silver painting there for the thruster bells. Really cool details all around. I like this a lot. Just to give you an idea about the scale of these, there's a Converge figure. So these are about double the size. And then the last Standart here is the Shinanju Stein. Now this one I was a little bit cautious about because, as I mentioned, some of them have a little bit goofy proportions. And judging by the pictures of this, I think the head, the face, is a little bit odd looking, so it's kind of hard to tell. I took a chance and I thought, well, I'll just try it and just see how it looks. So let's see how it looks. If it looks alright, then I think I'll be really happy with it. A nice little figure of the Stein would be really cool. And yeah, you can see the face is like a little bit elongated. It looks a little bit odd, but overall it's not too bad. I think it's still looking pretty cool. There you can see the Anaheim Electronics logo there pre-painted on the shoulder. And then once you get the rifle and the shield connected, here's how it's going to look. Nothing on the shield. We do have a little bit of red there for the missiles inside. And otherwise, just overall looking pretty nice. I mean, it just looks like a Shinanju Stein, but all the detail again is there. It's going to make a nice little figure if you're a fan of the design. Now that's it for Gundam figures. Let's get into a couple other just figures that I got. This is just a small little figure of Sochie Heim from Turne Gundam, if you're unfamiliar. Despite what we argued about whilst buying this, Ricardo and I, she is one of the best Gundam girls. If you've watched the series to its completion, you'll know. Honestly, the face is a little derpy. It's not like the best figure of Sochie, but there's only like 2 or 3 in existence. And the other larger scale ones, like that are, I think were like UFO prize grabber prizes, are a little bit harder to find and a little bit more expensive. But this one's nice. This will do. Like I said, I'm a big fan of her. She's one of my favorite characters. I like her quite a bit. Here in this paper include, you can see some of the other ones in the line here. You can see this Kiel Heim one. I saw this one there as well, but that one didn't really look as good. Didn't see the Lauren one, and didn't see any of these mobile suit ones there either. So did pick this one up though. I like that. And then got a few Dragon Ball figures. As you guys know, I'm a fan of Dragon Ball. I'm a fan of Akira Toriyama's work, and I tend to like the figures that are in non-action poses, and that just also happens to be usually the female figures. So I like just casual clothes and non-action poses and things like that. So got this one here of the calm version of Launch for us there in the US. There's also like a black and white version of this one as well. But let's see how this figure looks. The box is pretty small, but I think the figure is actually going to be much taller. You just have to kind of put it together. And it appears this little bit of the peg that plugs into one of the feet there is actually broken off in the bag, but don't think it'll need that considering it has this other peg on there as well for the other foot. It should be just fine. And there's how it's going to look. Nice little figure there. The head looks a lot bigger than it does in the artwork on the box. It's kind of a bit odd. And the neck from this side looks a bit odd at this section here, but I kind of think as long as you're looking at it from the right angle, it looks pretty cool. I like it. Like I said, I'm a fan of Launch as a character. Though we can't forget about Bulma. This is one that was, I think, from the same line. Yeah, it has the same base, so it's from the same line, so these two will actually go together quite well. This one's totally out of the box. I did see other versions of this like in the box, but this one was cheaper, so luckily I was able to find this one. I don't really care about the box, so it's not a big deal. So there we go. I like this one quite a lot. For this like smaller scale figures, they tend to look a little bit weird. Like I said, with the Launch one, the head proportion was a little bit odd, and especially the face and like the pre-printed eyes oftentimes don't really look that great, but this one actually looks really nice. I like this one quite a bit. Here would be like the two of them together like that. Essential for any Dragon Ball fan. But then I got this other bigger Bulma as well. Now I do have another figure of Bulma that's really similar to this. This one as well, the eyes are a little bit goofy, but they're not too bad. But this one, again, being without its original box, was actually pretty cheap. This one also does have a bit of one of the pegs kind of broken off in there, but really not a big deal at all. If you're in the Japanese market, they do care about that quite a bit. But standing on that nice base, it is looking good. Again, just love that Toriyama like original Dragon Ball styling for this. The half pants and just all the different like colorful bits of accessories and things like that are all really cool. The gun as well, very nice. For comparison, here's the other kit that I was mentioning that is like basically like the same like outfit, but this one's a little bit taller, a little bit different just in terms of its detail. This one is much more detailed. This is definitely the better figure between the two, but they are both really nice. I'm sure this one was definitely more expensive as well. I think this one was maybe like around like 800 yen, and this one was like 3,000 yen. So you have to take that into consideration, of course. And then the last figure here, which you guys might rightly find a little bit out of nowhere, is from, I think it's ma.k Monogatari, or anyway, it's from a series that I really have no idea about. I've never watched it. I have done a little bit more research about it after kind of just seeing this character. I actually recently bought a resin figure of this character just because I just thought it looked kind of cool. I think it's really very Toriyama style, not in like the character like facial design, but just like all like the odd colorful accessories and things like that. So it's Mayoi Hachikuji is the character's name, and apparently she is like the ghost of a girl who died and is like searching for her mother. And yeah, I'm sure some of you guys out there are more familiar with the anime than me. As you guys know, I don't really particularly watch anime or read manga even, or anything outside of Gundam. I pretty much don't know too much about Gundam, Evangelion, and Dragon Ball. But despite not knowing really anything about the story or really caring to ever really watch the series or anything, I think it's just a cool design, just a cool, interesting character design, and especially knowing a little bit of the backstory definitely makes it a little bit more cool as well. That her parents were divorced and she was living with her father and then went off to find her mother, and while she was looking for her mother, she was killed in a car accident. So like she's just traveling in the afterlife as a ghost, continuing to look for her mother. It's a cool character, I think, and just an interesting design. So yeah, in the future you guys may see me working on that, on the resin figure that I got. It's in a different pose than this, but there was a couple figures that I came across while there in Tokyo, and this one was pretty nice and pretty cheap as well. I think this was around 800 yen as well, so really cool. And speaking of resin, did pick up a couple of resin figures as well that I just came across in some secondhand stores. Now most secondhand resin kits, the like GK kits, garage kits, are pretty expensive. They'll be like, for original kits are super expensive. This one, however, was only like $15, so very, very cheap. It's a 1/8 scale Misato Katsuragi. I don't know why I wanted to say Kusanagi. But from Evangelion, obviously there's not much to see here on the box, except you can see her face there on the top. I'd actually been wanting to find a nice figure of Misato, and couldn't really find one. I haven't really seen one that I really like a lot online, but just happened to come across this one, and it was really cheap, and I like it a lot. And it was actually, this is a Kotobukiya figure, so as you may have seen there. So here's what the whole thing actually looks like when it's all put together, and there's a second image here just showing a more close-up of like the top half. We have our instructions, which just contains the part lists and just how to put those on. Unfortunately, no water slide decals for the eyes. I was kind of hoping there would be. We can see in here we do also have like the parts order form too, in case you like have any lost or broken parts. You could like reorder those. I'm sure it probably wouldn't work anymore, but you can see this is from 1997 apparently. So these are some other items. It's like the spring chapter of Kotobukiya garage kits from 1997. So some interesting stuff in here. Some other Evangelion stuff, some other Evangelion figures there of Rei and Asuka and other characters here in the line. I thought this one was pretty funny. Bang Bong. Yep, that's one way to describe it. There's other non-Evangelion stuff in here as well. Virtual On, Leisner. I don't know if there's any Gundam. There might not be, because that would obviously have belonged to Bandai. So here's all the parts here. I checked it out before checking out, before buying it, and everything's in there. Everything's fine. All the details look really sharp. The casting looks fantastic on this. So it's like 10 pieces total. It's gonna be really simple resin kit, so was really glad to find this. This is a really good find, I think. As far as I can tell, there's nothing broken on it, so I really have no idea why it was so cheap, but could just be because it's so old. I don't know if that really matters for anything, if that makes it any more brittle or something, but it seems totally fine. And the other one here is Asuka. This is a 1/5 scale, so a much larger one. This one was, I think, right around the same price though, around $15 for this as well. This one is just also an official Sega one here, not from Kotobukiya, but you can see it is from Musasia. I'm not really too familiar with that. You can see what the price on this used to be, and it's definitely a lot cheaper than that. Now what I found out was the reason why it was cheap is because it does have a broken part. The foot is broken on one of the legs. It's gonna be kind of hard to show you guys on camera, but here's one of the legs, and the foot is broken off here. But the foot is here. All I got to do is just pin it back on. It's really not that big of a problem at all. So really everything's totally fine, and that'll be a really nice thing. And it's a 1/5 scale, so it's quite large. Here we have the instructions for that. As you can see, it's just again, it's just 10, 11, 12 parts in total. This one also got to be pretty old, but definitely happy to pick that up. It's always nice to buy some like original resin kits when you can, but like I said, they're usually really expensive, but I just lucked out and was able to find 2 that were quite cheap. Then did get some ma.k stuff. I mean, maybe not what you guys were expecting. They have these like special versions of the 1/35th scale Gacha Nen figures that are on sale now. One is of the Fireball, one's of the Ketzer. So this Fireball one is the Wonder Festival 2017 Summer Special Edition. So this has been out for a while, since Wonderfest, but they had these for sale at a shop. And basically this is similar to like the kits that I have before that I bought a box of, but this does have some special parts that are exclusive to this particular kit. So going around to the back here, you can see one thing is that it includes this nice sheet of water slide decals. So have a look at that. Wanda-chan, Reset-chan, those are I think mascots of Wonderfest. So this would be like a special Wonderfest water slide decals. There you can see there's the Wonderfest logo there as well. It's really cool water slides. So part of what makes this kit different from the one that comes in like the box of them is that this is the space type. So it has a different backpack on there. So it's just going to be a little bit different in terms of its overall design. I'm trying to get those decals out of the way so you guys can see this here, but you can see it's got the little radar thing on the top and then just a different backpack. So I like these a lot. I'm currently working on painting one, so you guys will see that as soon as I'm done. And then I've got like 8 more there that I can play with later. But molded color is just this kind of really obnoxious light blue. That's not a big deal. The Ketzer as well. This one is also a Wonderfest 2017 special edition. And this one also has some different parts in it also. Actually, I shouldn't say different parts because this is actually a completely different figure. There was no capsule ball for this one, so there was no other actual version of this exactly how it is. So this is actually the only way to get this one. And this one also has some very nice waterside decals there as well. So like these are like these really big ones that will go on the side of the backpack, I think. Got some general caution markings there. Love these numbers on there. Love the Wonderfest logo. These little crocodile heads, the little cats. Beautiful decals. Gotta love it. When I saw those decals, I just could not resist. And then here you can see that's what the whole thing looks like. And these would be clear parts there that are gray. So like on this big section here is where I think you can put these decals, or if you want to put them on something else. But they're kind of specifically made to fit on here, so you kind of might as well just put them on there. Unfortunately, you only have the parts to make one, so you won't be able to use both of those on the same kit, so I'll have to find something else to use one of those on. That's going to be a tough decision, but I think these were like around $15 a piece, so these were definitely not cheap, considering all you're getting is just like one little figure and then a set of water slide decals. But considering that they were like limited edition ones, I was okay with it. And then there was one more too. This one is the 16N SAFS. This one is by some particular designer who I don't really know anything about that. I'm sure one of you guys who maybe knows better than I will be able to let me know. So this is just, again, another version of that. This one doesn't come with anything in the way of new parts, actually, so nothing new in terms of the parts, but this one just comes with some really radical decals. So yeah, just seeing decals like that, and it's just really hard to pass up. So again, some of them are going to be pretty specific, like for this particular version. And if I can get those out of the way, you can see here's the designer. Again, I don't know his name, and I can't read the Japanese, but he's someone famous. I'm sure one of you guys can let me know in the comments down below. So this is just supposed to be like his custom take on this. So I don't know if he must have played a part probably in designing some of these decals for this as well, of course. This set was a little bit cheaper, but because it doesn't have any actual new parts to it, but it's still probably around 12 bucks or something like that, I think. So very expensive for what it is, but just couldn't resist. I got a whole bunch of Gaia paints. Some of these are just from like regular lines, some fluorescent colors, things like that. But a bunch of these actually are from the Virtual line of Gaia Notes paints, which I don't have any of. I wanted to try some of these. They're just slightly different colors. The Virtual colors tend to be like some really bright, vibrant colors, so I think those will be pretty good. Got like 3 bottles of this. This is just the Virtual Warm White. It's just a really nice kind of like space white, like will be useful for ma.k kits and things like that. So I think it's anti-flash white, I think is what I've heard Lincoln call that. So yeah, as you guys may be asking, is it okay to bring these on the airplane? I think you're not supposed to bring them on the airplane, so I wouldn't recommend you guys do it. I brought them on my checked baggage, but yeah, don't follow my example. Got a couple bottles of Mr. Color, not really all that much, just like fluorescent green. A couple bottles of this gun chrome, because I'm going to be using this, I think, for painting some unicorn inner frame, and then 3 bottles of this flat clear. This is the like final top coat that I like using, and it's often sold out here in Korea, so I took the opportunity to buy a few bottles of that. 2 bottles of this Mr. Mahogany surfacer, so it's just a mahogany colored 1000 grit surfacer. Again, for things like painting skin tones or for painting things like ma.k kits and things like that, where I would just kind of spray surfacer and then spray some kind of brown over the top of that, I figured this just saves a step by just spraying brown surfacer straight out of that. And then some Nazca surfacer. This is super heavy, so it's just a darker gray. Previously he just had a light and heavy, which was like a light gray and a normal gray, so super heavy is just a darker gray color of surfacer here from Naoki's Nazca line. And then a couple bottles here. This is Mr. Cement SP. This was recommended to me by a friend to try this out because apparently it sets really quickly. And then Mr. Weathering Color, of course, Mr. Color makes a lot of different colors of this. I got just ground brown, as this is pretty much the color that I am often mixing when I'm mixing my own color for like lining, things like that, just like a really dark blackish brown. So I'm gonna test this out, see how well I like this. I might end up liking this a lot, and it'll save me a lot of time of mixing, so we'll see how that goes. A couple of little tool things here, some little rods, brass rods and aluminum rods in just different sizes for pinning resin figures. A tiny little brush. This is a Bunseido Woody Fit 10-0 brush, 700 yen. Just a very fine brush that is just used for very fine detail painting. Got a whole mess of waterslide decals. I won't go ahead and show you each one of these, but got some like cool Japanese characters, some nice print there. Cyrillic, I don't know really sure how that's pronounced, and these are like rainbow ones. They're kind of like shiny rainbowy. So there's a whole bunch of HIQ decals. I always like to stock up on those when I'm in Japan. And before I said no other kits, and these are kind of kits but not really full-on kits. So this one is the RX-7802 Gundam The Origin head model. So this is just I think it's 1/48 scale. I believe they're usually 1/48 scale. This was from a Gundam Ace magazine, so it's just a head bust here of the Origin Gundam. And then this one as well for the Gundam G-Self. This one is very often in like HLJ sales and things like that, so you can see this on sale for pretty cheap. I think this was like 300 yen for this, so very cheap. The Origin head I think was a little more. I think that was like 800 yen, maybe about $8. The G-Self head was about $3, so that's pretty much about as cheap as you're going to get it. When you order it online from different sites, I mean, depending on where you get it, but I know if you buy it from HLJ, like I mentioned, they often have it in their sales, but it's usually with the magazine, so that makes it like 3 times the weight, and that'll definitely add to your shipping price. Now finally, the last thing here is something that I've actually never bought on a trip to Japan before. This is from Mandarake. Bought a couple of posters here that I brought back in this nice poster tube that I was able to get there as well. So these are both Gundam posters. This first one is Gundam X. You can see there, really nice, just kind of painted background, and then like the actual illustration of the characters and the Gundam there in the center is like in gold. So it's in this nice shiny gold color, really cool poster. This other one is Gundam Victory. So as I've said before, I actually haven't finished watching the Victory series, so I can't say that it's like one of my favorite Gundam series ever, but this was just a really nice poster. Do the Victory Gundam logo there at the bottom. This is actually a poster for one of the original soundtracks, like the soundtrack album. So this would be like the album artwork for that, but really cool image there. I like that illustration for that. So this would just be a really nice Gundam poster. So while I didn't necessarily buy a whole lot of like Gundam kits, I certainly bought plenty of stuff for me to work on, or at least to just add to the list. So it was a good trip. Thank you guys as always for the support. Thank you for watching if you stayed through to the end of this video, and I'll be working on getting that guide out available for you guys as soon as I can. So until then guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.